cooler that it is up here than it is where I live now.
Just letting you know we're live.
Are we live now?
We are live.
Can I hear Paul?
We can do an audio check.
I can't hear Paul.
He's
He can
muted.
hear you. He's muted. He's been instructed to stay on mute to clear the audio until you call on him. So that's why he's automatically on mute.
Okay. Okay, so I got 3 commissioners up.
Can I hear you?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I've got you both voice and on the camera, big boy. Okay, I'm going to start this meeting now, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to start this as the Planning Commission, a regular meeting of Tuesday, September 8th of 2020, and the meeting is starting at 6:10 p.m.
I'll do roll call if you're ready.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner St. Martin? He's here. Commissioner Smith?
Here.
Commissioner Colindres?
Here.
Vice Chairman Stevens? I was told would be absent, and I don't see him on the line. Chairman Tinker?
Here. Okay, at this time, we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. And Paul, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we got that out of the way. Is there any adjustments to the agenda?
I have none.
No
No, sir.
adjustments to the agenda. Do we have any conflict of interest disclosures? None? Hearing none? Okay. Before we get started, I'm going to do the same thing we did before. As we go down, and I will call on you randomly for your comments, motions, whatever. I'm just not going to follow the straight lineup. And please let me call on you so that we don't have everybody talking at the same time. Okay. Due to the circumstances, we are encouraging the public to maintain participation in our meetings by submitting a public comments via email or by teleconferencing in for phone-in comments. Please see the front of the agenda for specific directions. Now, email comments can be sent to Nicole W. at beaumontca.gov. I need a approval of the minutes for July 14th, 2020.
Chairman, if I could, just to check to see if we have any callers on the line for the public comment period for items not on the agenda.
Oh, okay.
All right. I have no written comments. Heather, do we have anyone on the line?
I have no callers.
Thank you.
Okay. I'll get this right someday. Okay. So now we have no request to speak. Okay, then I'm approval of the minutes for the July 14th meeting 2020. And I'll start with Nathan.
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion by Nathan to approve the minutes of July 14th, 2020. Commissioner St. Martin?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from July 14th, 2020.
And I'll do roll call vote.
Please.
Commissioner St. Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Colindres?
Yes.
Chairman Tinker?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I can move on to item 2 now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, item number 2, we're going to conduct a public hearing and consider conditional use permit 2020-0051 for a personal training facility Covert Athletics, located at 1132 Beaumont Avenue, Suite 104, and it's in the Beaumont Avenue Overlay Zone. So now I'll turn to staff for the staff report.
Good evening, Chairman and Commissioners. Staff received an application for a conditional use permit on July 7th of 2020. This was reviewed by the Development Review Committee, and conditions were added to the project. We did place a public notice in the Press Enterprise and notified property owners within 300 feet of this public hearing. Staff did not receive any phone calls or written comments to date. The Beaumont Municipal Code allows health clubs and fitness gyms in the Beaumont overlay zone subject to a conditional use permit. The Municipal Code also provides the Planning Commission with the authority to modify a conditional use permit in whole or in part, subject to required findings. The property is zoned Beaumont Avenue overlay, and it has the same general plan land use designation of Beaumont Avenue overlay. The properties surrounding the subject site have the same zoning and general plan designation of Beaumont Avenue overlay. The site is located, the proposed use is located with an existing building that has 3 suites. They include a cellular phone repair shop and a legal office. And there is another building on a separate parcel to the north with multiple suites. Shared parking is provided between the 2 buildings. It does include 30 spaces that are in front of both of the multi-tenant buildings and to the rear. The site is accessed from 2 driveways located off of Beaumont Avenue. The proposed use would only require 13 spaces based on the gross floor area. However, based on the statement of operations, it's unlikely that this use will even utilize 50% of the required parking at one time. The site is fully improved with parkway sidewalk, curb, gutter, and landscaping along Beaumont Avenue. The applicant is proposing a personal training facility that offers approximately 50 one-hour classes in a week. They will serve between 6 to 8 clients for each 1-hour class. And the range of age for their clients is from 16 to 84. Their hours of operation are from 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Monday through Fridays, and then on Saturday from 8 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. They are not proposing any operations on Sunday. This applicant was previously operating in Calamasa for 8 years, but has decided to relocate their business to Beaumont. The suite is approximately 2,500 square feet and includes a training area, 2 restrooms, and a kids' room. This project is exempt from CEQA as a Class 1 existing facility. The required findings can be adequately met are included in the staff report. So at this time, staff would like to recommend that the Planning Commission hold a public hearing, approve conditional use permit 2020-0051, subject to the proposed conditions of approval, and direct staff to prepare a notice of exemption for the applicant to file with the county clerk recorder. This concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. The applicant is here as well.
Okay. Commissioners, I'm going to start with Commissioner Caldress. Do you have any questions for staff?
No questions.
Commissioner St. Martin, questions for staff?
No questions.
Commissioner Smith, questions for staff?
If memory serves, this is the same facility that the martial arts studio moved to a couple months ago?
So that is in the building on the north side. So yes, it's in the same center.
I mean, there haven't been any complaints or issues as far as parking goes since their time they moved there?
No, we haven't.
Granted, there haven't been able to really hold classes, but...
No, we haven't received any complaints, and like I said, this is actually a smaller operation than that, but...
Okay. That's all. Thank you.
At this time, I'm going to open the public hearing at 6:19, public hearing on 2020-0051. Is the applicant here? Well, it's your time to shine. It's the public hearing. You're open.
Okay.
State your name first.
Oh, my name's Javier Hernandez. Covert Athletics, we were once CrossFit Covert in Calamasa. We had our business there for 8 years. Obviously, when the pandemic came through, shutdowns of all gyms took place. At that time, our old landlord wasn't really willing to work with us. And at that time, for us, luckily, now in hindsight, due to the closure, how long it's been, we didn't anticipate it was going to be 7 months. But we ended up closing up shop and putting all of our stuff into storage, which in the long run obviously paid out greatly because we didn't have to pay overhead for the last couple months. But we've always lived in Beaumont. I graduated Beaumont High School. But when there was already a couple of gyms established in Beaumont at that time, so we opened up in Calamasa. And then obviously as time has progressed, Beaumont has always been obviously where we wanted to find ourselves. And now just as things have panned out, situations have changed, we want to see ourselves here as we've grown our business, and especially taking a look at it now, I would say roughly 65% of our clientele is Beaumont residents. So it kind of makes perfect sense to follow where your clientele already is. And so that's kind of where we're looking to establish ourselves within Beaumont, since the vast majority of our clientele is already here.
Okay. I'm going to go to the commissioners. Commissioner Smith, do you have any questions for the applicant?
No questions this time.
Commissioner St. Martin, questions for the applicant? Commissioner Colindres, questions for the applicant?
No questions at this time.
Okay, then at this point in time, I'm going to close the public hearing.
Sir, if I could just check to make
I'm
sure we don't
sorry.
have any callers on the line. Heather, do we have anyone on the line that would like to speak?
No, I have no callers.
Thank you.
I keep forgetting.
Okay.
Okay, at 6:22, I'm going to close the public hearing on 2020-0051. Okay, at this time, I'm going to look for a approval for conditional use permit 2020-0051, subject to the proposed conditions and approval. And I'm going to go to Commissioner Colindres for a motion.
I move to approve a conditional use permit number 2020-0051 for the personal training facility.
Okay, I have a motion. I need a second. Nathan?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the conditional use permit 2020-0051 as prepared.
I'll do roll call if you're ready.
Please.
Commissioner St. Martin? Mr. St. Martin, can you unmute?
He's muted.
I was reading his lips. He said, I approve. He's a great guy.
Okay, Paul, we can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
There
We
we
got
go.
you now.
Yes, I approve.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Colindres?
Yes.
Chairman Tinker?
Yes. Okay, I'm going to move on to item number 3. Plot plan 2020-0276, which is a conditional use permit. 2020-0046, conditional use permit 2020-0047, tentative track map 37938, and environmental report 2020-0012, commonly referred to as the 8th and Highland Springs, located on the southwest corner of 8th Street and Highland Springs Avenue in the commercial zone. Staff.
Good evening, Chairman and Commissioners. The proposed project, 8th and Highland Springs, originally submitted a preliminary review application on October 3rd, 2019. We did process that through the Development Review Committee and provided several comments to the applicant in the project as proposed. has incorporated many of the comments that staff requested. So on April 1st, we did receive the formal submittal with the plot plan, 2 conditional use permits, and the tentative parcel map for a proposed gas station convenience store with alcohol sales, a quick service restaurant with a drive-through, and a lot split. This is not an city-sponsored project. This is applicant-driven. And we did place a public notice in the Press Enterprise, and property owners within 300 feet were notified of this public hearing. Staff did not receive any comments from the public regarding the proposed project. The municipal code does allow gas stations, convenience stores with alcohol sales, and drive-throughs in the community commercial zone subject to a conditional use permit. This property is zoned community commercial and has a general plan land use designation of community commercial. To the north is the Sundance Corporate Center that is in various stages of construction and has a zoning designation of specific plan, which is the Sundance specific plan. To the east is the San Gorgonio Memorial Hospital that's located in the city of Banning. To the south of the property is zoned commercial general with medical and dental offices. And to the west is a residential multifamily zone that contains the Palm Grove Healthcare Skilled Nursing Facility. The site is 2.0 acres and is currently vacant with existing curb and gutter on 8th and Highland Springs. There is a storm drain and partial sidewalk which are constructed on Highland Springs and on the corner of 8th and Highland Springs. The project includes 2 retail commercial buildings with a total square footage of 7,588 square feet to be constructed in 2 phases. The first phase will include a 4,088 square foot convenience store with beer and wine sales, and that will be operated by 7-Eleven. They will also have a gas station with 6 pumps that have 12 fueling positions and a 3,096 square foot fuel canopy. Also, as part of phase 1, the applicant will be constructing the off-site improvements, and the on-site improvements will be constructed by the end users. The driveway on 8th Street will be fully constructed as part of phase 1, even though it includes a small portion of the parcel that is proposed for development as phase 2. Phase 2 will include a 3,800 square foot drive-through restaurant that has not been identified at this time. I'd like to point out that staff has worked closely with this applicant, not only in the preliminary review application, but also on their formal application. And we did ask for enhancements to the architecture, and the applicant did provide tile accent bands in the 7-Eleven corporate colors, canvas awnings, decorative lighting, decorative scoring, recessed building areas, and stone veneers. You might notice in the conceptual sign plan, the elevations look a little different than what your site plan looks like, and that's the original submittal, and you can see in the site plan the enhancements that the applicant has made. A traffic impact analysis was prepared by Urban Crossroads for the project that proposes 2 driveways, one on 8th Street and one on Highland Springs. Both of those driveways will be right in, right out only. The project has also been conditioned to pay required TUMP fees, development impact fees, and their fair share of fees consistent with the city's requirements. The project as proposed requires a minimum of 57 parking spaces. The applicant is proposing 89 parking spaces that do not include the 12 fueling spaces under the canopy. The gas station and convenience store are proposing a 24-hour operation. As I mentioned before, the quick service restaurant has not been identified, therefore we don't have any operational characteristics at this time. However, the applicant does anticipate that that will also be a 24-hour operation. The project is located within Census Tract 438.18, which allows 2 off-sale licenses based on the population ratios. The Census Tract currently has 4 off-sale licenses that belong to Stater Brothers, Food for Less, Beaumont Gas Mart, and Highland Shell. Therefore, the ABC will require that we make a public convenience and necessity determination, or also called a PCN, for the proposed Type 20 off-sale license for beer and wine. Some things that ABC typically looks at is proximity to sensitive receptors, including schools, parks, and places of worship, and the separation requirement is 600 feet. The proposed project is located over 2,600 feet from Mountain View Park in Sundance. It's 1,300 feet from the Church of Latter-day Saints in Banning, and it's 1,300 feet from Sundance Elementary. The applicant has also provided a letter that demonstrates the justification for the PCN, which is attachment H to your staff report. Due to the scope of the project, an initial study and mitigated negative declaration were prepared. They were circulated for a 30-day public review period from July 29th to August 28th. No formal agency comments were received during or after the comment period. The Beaumont Municipal Code does allow the Planning Commission to grant plot plans and conditional use permit applications and impose reasonable conditions upon granting of such permits. However, the tentative parcel map requires approval by the City Council. Therefore, staff is seeking a recommendation to forward to City Council. So at this time, staff would like to recommend that the Planning Commission conduct a public hearing, forward a recommendation of approval to the City Council to adopt a mitigated negative declaration and mitigation monitoring and reporting program, and approve Plot Plan 2020-0276, conditional use permits 2020-0046 and 0047, and tentative parcel map 37938, subject to the attached conditions of approval. This concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, Commissioners, I'm going to start with the Commissioner St. Martin. Do you have questions for staff?
Yes, I do. What kind of buffer is there between this project and the medical buildings to the south of it?
There are going to be some water quality features that will provide a sort of landscape buffer between the uses to the south. They'll also have some landscaping against the property line, and then they have parking before the buildings, parking and circulation before the buildings.
Okay, and the second question I have, is there going to be a deceleration lane at the intersection so that a person entering the facility there is not just turning from Highland Springs Avenue?
This is Robert Vestal, Principal Engineer. There will not be a deceleration lane. It'll be a right in, right out. The intersection of 8th and Highland is, I believe at a minimum, 150 feet from the driveway on Highland Springs. So I don't think it warrants a deceleration lane in its current configuration.
Because there's a 50-mile-an-hour speed limit in that area. And if someone quickly decides to make a right into the gas station and someone is following behind, there's the potential for rear-end collisions.
Yeah, that is understood. But I think in this case, just normal driving behavior applies.
All right. That's all. Thanks.
Okay, going to Commissioner Colindres. Questions for staff?
No questions at this time.
Okay. Commissioner Smith. Questions at this time?
this is a tricky location. The couple of questions I do have on Highland Springs, is there plan to have a permanent concrete or permanent median in the middle, or is it always going to remain as a striped median in front of the property?
It's unforeseen. At this time, I believe it is just a striped median.
Okay. And then it lines up kind of, you know, by necessity, it seems, kind of dog-eared from the main driveway to the new medical facility up on the north side of the road. I believe, and I was looking for some confirmation on this, is there a traffic signal that's proposed on 8th Street for the medical building at their main driveway?
I don't think there's a signal on 8th Street proposed. The signal's on Highland Springs for that driveway.
Okay. So, you know, my concern is there's going to be a lot of traffic, people coming in and out of that facility. And what I would like to see, I appreciate that there's the requirement for the right turn in and out. What I'd like to see is, you know, potentially the addition of a little concrete pork chop in the driveway to help to encourage drivers that it is a right turn in and out only at those locations. You know, it provides just a little bit of a more physical barrier, I think, to reinforce to not make a left turn across all the lanes in those spots.
Yeah, understood.
Just for the record for Commissioner St. Martin and for what Commissioner Smith is speaking to, the traffic study did not recommend that either of those things occur. And so it's somewhat challenging if it's not already in the general plan from the median standpoint, or especially with the traffic signal, to create that nexus if it doesn't occur to require those improvements. So that's why it's proposed the way it is.
And that's fine. I understand that. You know, I think just the pork chops within the driveways themselves, that's within the driveway access and close to the private property. So
Sure.
I don't think that we're limited the same way, since the traffic study does also recommend right in, right out only for those driveways, just additional reinforcement.
Yep.
You know, vehicular reinforcement. I understand. I just wanted to just clarify I couldn't remember if there was a traffic signal on 8th or not. And, you know, if that was the case, there's going to be a lot of conflicting kind of left and right turns as we get towards the intersection on Highland Springs and then to the facilities that are already around it. So, you know, I think providing a barrier on site just to help reinforce that behavior, I think, would be beneficial for the project.
If you'd like to recommend that, that's something I think we could include, the pork chop anyway. If it's something you'd like staff to bring forward.
I would like to recommend that if the other commissioners would entertain that idea.
Okay.
Anything else, Nathan?
No, I mean, it's, like I said, I mean, it's a tricky location, and just as close to the intersection it is, and whatever we can do to discourage the left turns in and out, since that's what's recommended and what everybody has agreed to, I think would be most beneficial, I think, to a flow overall.
Agreed.
Okay, what I'm going to do now is, do we have any, well, I'll do it with the public hearing. Okay, I'm going to close off the commissioner discussion. I'm going to open a public hearing on Plat Plan 2020-0276, Conditional Use Permit 2020-0046, 2020-0047, Tentative Track Map 37938, Environmental Review 2020-0012, and that will be at 6:38. Public hearing is open. Now, do we have call-ins?
No callers.
And I have no written comments. However, within the Zoom meeting, we do have representatives from the applicant. So that if there's any questions, we can ask them. And then you can ask if any of those applicants would like to speak prior to as well.
Okay. Okay, I have the applicant online, so Nathan, Paul, Mr. Calendris, if you have questions for the applicant, I'm going to start with Mr. Calendris first.
No questions.
Commissioner St. Martin?
No questions.
No, Nathan, I'm not going to you. Yes. Nathan, questions for the applicant?
Not for the applicant, no.
Okay.
You want to check to make sure any of the applicants don't want to speak before we close?
Okay, before I close this public hearing, does any of the applicants' representatives wish to speak?
Yes, this is Laura Ortiz with Evergreen Development. Good evening. This is my first virtual hearing, so it's very exciting. The only request I would make if the commission is inclined to add a condition regarding pork chops would be that staff really work with us and with 7-Eleven, because they'll have very large trucks coming in and out of there, and I don't think anybody wants the trucks constantly bumping over that and breaking it apart. So that would be, the concern. We're all understanding it's right in, right out. We just don't want to create a condition where the improvements get broken and tires are, kind of popping over that.
Did you hear that, Commissioner Smith?
I did, and my recommendation wasn't going to be to add as a condition to install it, but there's going to be fire considerations to it as well, as far as access and turning radius to get in and out of the site. So I was going to recommend that, to the city engineer's discretion, whatever is going to be most appropriate to help to further encourage drivers to not make the left turns as they come out.
Sure thing.
And thank you. We've definitely accomplished that different ways without impeding the trucks before, with rolled curbs and different things like that.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Any other comments from the applicant? Any representative from the applicant that has anything else they want to add? Okay, then at 6:41, I'm going to close the public hearing. And at this time, we have no one else that's called in or anything, correct?
No, sir.
Okay, at this time, I entertain a motion to approve or refer to council plot plan 2020-0276, conditional use permit 2020-0046, conditional use permit 2020-0047, tentative track map 37938, environmental review 2020-0012, also commonly referred to as 8th and Highland Springs, located on the southwest corner of 8th Street and Highland Springs Avenue in the community commercial zone. I will come to Commissioner St. Martin for a motion.
Move to approve as stated by the chair.
Okay, I have a motion to approve. I need a second, Mr. Smith.
Mr. Tinker, I was questioning, do we need to discuss the idea that I had before we go into a motion?
For the working with staff on the access there for the right in, right out.
Oh, I thought we already.
That'd be a modification to the conditions, to work with staff to provide some additional encouragement for left-hand turns.
Okay, well, then I can add that. You've heard everything else I had to say, then we'll just add the fact that staff will work with the developer to work with any entrance and exit items and issues. Will that work?
That's fine with me. I mean, Mr. St. Martin, you need to amend your motion, but.
Paul, did you hear that?
Yes, I amended to also include the changes by Commissioner Smith.
Okay. Now I have a motion, an amended motion, and I'm looking for a second, and Mr. Commissioner Smith, you're up.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve what I just read, plus the addition of staff working with a developer on entrance and exit issues that were brought up by Commissioner Smith.
Okay. Commissioner St. Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Colindres?
Yes.
Chairman Tinker?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion, a second, it's approved, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, I'm going to turn it over to the Community Development Director to be enlightened by her. program.
Thank you, Chairman Tinker. Good evening, everybody. Nice to see you all virtually this evening. There's just one kind of major item that I wanted to talk with you guys about or let you know about this evening. The city's general plan update and draft environmental document, along with all of the other associated items, are available and out for public review starting today. They are on the city's website. If you go to beaumontca.gov, you can either search general plan update, or go to the planning department page and you'll find a link for the general plan. Keeping that in mind, we have a 45-day review period on the draft environmental document. I believe that period will end on October 22nd. I think that's our date. We are going to have a special planning commission meeting, and I hope I'm giving you all enough advance notice, on October 27th. And that will be specifically just to hear the general plan update and associated items. So please pencil that in. If you have any questions, you can email myself or Carol, give us a call, or reach out to Nicole, whatever's most convenient for you. But based on the timing that we have to get through the hearing process and meet all of our deadlines, October 27th will be the date that the general plan update will come to you. So if you have any questions about the document as you look through it and you start to get familiar, please let me know. If you hear anything out in the community, please feel free to forward them, our information, reach out to Carol or I, and we're happy to answer any questions. I believe there will be some information out on the social media and things like that. Ashley has the information and whatnot, so it's exciting. We're finally getting to the end of this process. So anyway, I will leave you all with that tonight, and I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any for me.
I got one comment to the commissioners. If there's one of you that you're not comfortable doing the telephonic thing, there's room for two of us up here. We can space out well enough that two of us can sit on the dais up here. So if one of you feels that you're more comfortable coming into the meeting, we just need to let Nicole know so she can set this up. But there is room for two of us up here to be spaced appropriately apart.
Thanks a lot, Chairman. I'm sure you're going towards me on that one.
How'd you know I was looking at you, Paul? Okay, any questions, any comments for our planning director?
I'm looking forward to reading through the new general plan. I think that's going to be exciting, and I'm looking forward to putting my notes on it.
Yeah.
I'm very excited with the way the document came out. It looks great. I think it's a lot more user friendly than what we have right now. But like I said, as you go through, if you have any comments or questions, feel free to give Carol or I a call. We're happy to talk with you guys about anything.
Okay, if there's nothing else, I'm going to close this meeting at 6:48. So done.